Hello and welcome to another daily evening quick meditation class. This will only be about 20 minutes, and we have this class from Monday to Friday at 6:30 p.m. to 6:50. And basically, we bring you different speakers from the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center in Miami, and we basically give you different takes on how to approach this lifelong journey and practice of meditation. And basically, we bring you guys different experiences and our different practices because, as you can imagine, in my opinion, meditation is the all-encompassing tool to live a better life. So that's why we bring you different speakers, because each speaker will bring a different flavor, and there's tons of materials out there on meditation, and basically it's up to you to find what approach really resonates with you. So it's really important to give all of it a try. That's why we have these talks. And don't be discouraged just because the way someone approached meditation didn't work out for you doesn't mean all the rest won't. It really is like a huge variety, and you have to see what works for you. So today's topic is finding stillness in chaos. And basically we try and find different topics that are especially relevant in the given time. And I thought that this topic was very relevant for me especially. And let me get straight to it. So basically, meditation is a state of being. It's not thinking nothing, which a lot of people, I think, feel meditation should be. It's not, because the mind is meant to think, it's meant to run, it's like a child, it's meant to play. So the whole purpose of these talks is to give you guiding posts on how to find your way to that state of being. And particularly for this topic, finding stillness in chaos. Basically, finding stillness. Stillness is your innate nature. This is within you. This is within each and every one of us. We have it inherently within us, and it's a matter of experiencing it for ourselves and finding it within ourselves despite whatever is going on. So that's why hopefully in this talk I could give you some guiding points on how to find it for yourself. But one of the most principal foundational belief is that it is innate. It is my birthright. This is who I am. This is my original quality. And that is stillness. That is silence. That is peace. That is just knowing exactly who I am. What do I need to do in that given moment? And ideally, you take this practice with you to every activity throughout the day and experience it for yourself and bring it to others. The more you're able to bring it into your interactions and your relationships and your tasks, the more you're able to experience it in your meditation practice. And oftentimes I like to relate, especially Raja Yoga meditation practice, that this is almost a feedback loop to your everyday life. That's why we practice with our eyes open, because the whole point is to experience something during those, let's say, 20 to 45 minutes of meditation. Experience it, find it, and then bring it into your whole routine throughout the day, whether you're sitting in traffic or interacting with other people or having to do your work. So finding stillness basically is that primarily, that I am stillness. It's in me, it's inherent. It's a matter of me finding it. So how do we find it, right? And that's the tricky part, especially during this chaotic time. So there's two things we kind of have to almost compartmentalize. So there's my external world, and let's start with that. So my external world has a lot of influence on what's going on in here and what I'm experiencing in here. So first and foremost, let me just take a step back and see, what do I have around me that I can almost control, and if I have to, get rid of, especially for things that are taking me away from that state of stillness. So if I find myself being influenced, let's say, from the TV playing all day, just this constant bombardment of news, that's a very simple act to do, to just simply turn it off. Okay, and that's especially at night. People tend to watch the news, the last thing they and that's the last thing they feed their minds before going to sleep. That will almost definitely affect you finding that stillness, because the last thing you want to do when you feed your mind before going to sleep is something that reminds you of who you truly are, of your inherent nature. So ideally, read a piece of inspirational excerpt or meditate. Ideally, that is the best way to go to bed with, and that'll seep into your subconscious while you're sleeping. So firstly, let me see what I could do with my external surroundings. So obviously there's a lot that we can't control, but there are things that we can control. So let me have a neater space, and that's also essential, especially now that we're all having to stay home. My space at home, it is very much influential in what's happening in my internal world. So if you can keep things clean, neat, tidy, or at least organized, that will have significant effect on my state of being. And then obviously, and you can imagine how this practice just can really, have bigger effects, and it would mean big changes too. But largely, it's just simply to be aware and reflect on what is happening around me and how it affects me. Because a lot of times we don't even realize that it's affecting my inner state. So that's why sometimes if you take, let's say 15 minutes, ideally 30 to 45 minutes, it's most of that first part is just reflection and checking in to how I'm feeling, how am I being influenced, how am I getting pulled by certain things, especially externally, and if I can change it, then great. That's a significant change that you're doing for yourself. So that's just within my external, world. And then let me go inside. So there's a lot of things happening in here that, obviously have direct influence on my meditation practice. Because if I'm inherently confident in this idea that I am stillness, I am peace, but it's just a matter of me finding it. It's a matter of me shifting through all that chaos, all the things that could possibly get me lost. Then let me see what's taking me away from all of that beautiful serenity that I should be experiencing all the time. So, a huge part is what's going on with the subconscious. And the subconscious is very tricky. I won't have much time to discuss the subconscious. That's a whole other topic. But if you always tune into your feelings, that would be a good start. Feelings are things that creep up from the subconscious. And if I can almost verbalize it internally, just to myself, and literally this is what you do a lot in therapy sessions, for example, then you can start to process, where are these feelings coming from? Why are they there? What is their purpose? And to kind of shortcut all of it is to look at things differently. because feelings come from a certain perspective, whether I felt like I was victimized, or I didn't have the childhood that I thought I should have experienced. And you know, trauma is huge, and that just seeps into your subconscious, and a lot of times it's suppressed. So if I can at least just manage to bring it up and provide that safe space for myself and just acknowledge all of that, that would be tremendously helpful. Because a lot of times suppressing it's not giving love to yourself. And that's, I would say, another great useful tool that meditation provides. You're providing that safe space for yourself, and for a lot of those let's say traumatic experiences that you would rather forget, but unfortunately, you know, you don't forget. And the best way to transform them is to let them come up and then be able to change things around. So one way to look at things differently. So now that I've acknowledged, now that I've realized that, okay, this is what's been bothering me, this is the root cause, how do I change it? Well, I can look at it differently, and I could look at myself differently. And there's so many different ways to look at a certain situation, particularly, you know, my childhood. Or let's say something that just happened just yesterday, or even what's happening now, you know, worldwide, globally. What, you know, what does this mean for me right now? So not only am I going to now try and change the perspective, I'm going to actively look for the benefits. So this is actually a very active exercise I'm doing right now, because I'm having to go through a lot of changes, making big decisions, and having to let go of a lot of things that I've really worked hard for and that I thought I really wanted, and I've envisioned that this is going to be the rest of my life kind of thing, like this dream that I thought I'd built. And a lot of it I'm having to let go. And so I'm actively doing this practice, actually, which is this belief that, you know what, everything is happening for the best, and I'm actively looking for the new things that I'm learning right now. What are the benefits? Because there are benefits, but you have to look for it yourself. No one else is going to tell you. So small benefits that I'm acquiring right now are new skills, or all of a sudden I have time for to do something that I never had time to do before, or be able to pay attention for things that I was never able to do. And that's, I have to actively do that, and it takes effort, but it's always tuning in to when I'm feeling off. And when I'm feeling off, I'm just gonna, for example, I love to cook, so I'll make sure to find something inspiring. Because, you know, sometimes I don't want to cook if I'm feeling down, but I will have to actively go through my Instagram, look for inspiring things, or I'll ask, oh, what did you cook today? Oh, that sounds really yummy. Maybe I'll do that. Or also, I'm very active in looking for things to keep myself active. So there are certain things that can bore you. So, and I know, you know, physical activity will get those happy hormones out. It will force them and flush them out, and get rid of whatever is keeping you down. So small things like that are really helpful. And then when you do that throughout the day, you'll really reap the benefits of small tokens of those in your meditation practice. Now, all of a sudden, this new belief, this new way of looking at things starts to really feel real. Okay, and then I could hold that state of being much longer, and then that'll come into the next day. So you're like doing this feedback loop, but almost on the up and up, despite things that are pulling you down. And you know, that's the big challenge, I think, that's happening to all of us today. You know, it's really challenging all of us, especially for myself, you know, a regular meditation practitioner, and for a lot of people I know who are, you know, who practice meditation a lot. We're all in this together. We're all getting tested. And so hopefully with these classes we can relate to you guys that, you know, it's all of us, it's kind of like teamwork, you know, and everyone you interact with, you're passing on a little bit of something to that other person. And yeah, it's funny, you know, I went to the bank today and a quick stop at the groceries, and it just, I'm going back to work next week, and I'm a dentist and I wear a mask obviously, but now it's like, wow, like you see the mask everywhere. And at the bank, I haven't been to the bank in so long, and you know, I'm used to interacting with just my eyes, and now we really have to get used to interacting with just our eyes, you know. And the eyes, and in Raja Yoga, Brahma Kumaris, the eyes are a firm window to the soul and to what's happening inside. So whatever you're, you know, putting out there with your eyes, it would be nice, and this is your world contribution, is what you see out there. So if I'm seeing chaos, and if I'm surrounding myself with chaos, and if my internal world is just full of chaos, then that's the feedback loop I'm participating in. And you know, it's a matter of asking myself, is that what I want to take part in, or do I want to take part in creating things for the better, and not just for myself but for those around me, and for the world, and for the future. Checking the time, I only have about 4 minutes left, but yeah, so to kind of summarize it, there's a lot of things that we can check. Largely, meditation practice is simply finding that inherent state of being, and in this particular topic, it's that state of stillness. And if I can filter out things from my external world and then into my internal world, I'm doing a good job of shuffling through all that mess, really. And if one thing in particular, when it comes to my internal world, a great way to change things around is changing my perspective. And there's tons of ways to look at an incident. Let's say if I'm looking into the future, or if I'm looking at something that had happened to me in the past, there's always a different way to look at it. And obviously in my current present situation. So like I said, it's an active exercise to look for the benefits, to look for the things I'm grateful for, and to look for things, just the small things really, and stay in that practice. So let's do a quick guided meditation. Obviously this is going to be really quick, but hopefully I gave you some pointers on what to do for your meditation practice. Ideally, take it in first thing in the morning or last thing at night, and try and extend it for as long as possible. Okay, so just find a comfortable space, comfortable position. Take a deep breath in and out as you let go. And take a step back and let everything fall into place. And just take in this moment as I take time for myself, just noticing the things around me, how they influence me, how I get pulled. And then noticing my internal world. What's going on in that movie of my mind? What's coming up for me? And let me just remember that I, the soul, point of light, with the original qualities of peace, happiness, and love, I'm simply watching everything as they go by And I'm simply acknowledging. And in this moment, all I have to do is remember who I truly am. And what I would like to experience. And it's simply experiencing those original qualities that have been with me for eternity. My original qualities of who I truly am. The original qualities that I would like to bring out to the world. It's just a matter of shifting through, like looking for that pond of stillness, walking through a path full of rocks, bushes, trees, plants, and just stumbling into this great vast pond of deep blue waters, of serenity and of peace. Thank you. Om Shanti.